I, I raise awareness for this disease because I want to be part of the process of change so that we can have individuals that are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer have a path to success. You know, they have a path where they're not just diagnosed, they're a survivor. And so after, you know, what we've experienced as a family, I wanted to make it better for other families because I wouldn't want any family to experience the loss that we had. So my husband was diagnosed in late February of 2014, and he passed at the end of June. So he had a 4-month journey, and it was short, obviously. He originally started having symptoms the summer prior, and he had bad stomach pains come up during the summer. So the doctor sent him for a sonogram, and they didn't really see anything. He had periodic stomach pains throughout the fall, but in late November, his blood sugar level started becoming very erratic, and he was a type 2 diabetic. And they continued to have trouble controlling it through early January and whatnot. Late February, he ended up having like such severe pains he wanted to go to the hospital, but he went to the doctor, and it was then that they did additional scans, and they found that the pancreatic cancer had metastasized. So because of his health issues, they could only do chemo, and so he had a couple rounds of chemo, but he couldn't manage it. So at that point, you know, we really just had to make him comfortable, and then, as I said, he passed in late June. I was more than unfortunate enough to have a year later my brother diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and his story is a little bit different. He was diagnosed in June of 2015. And he had been to a party and had eaten oysters, and the next day he woke up and had stomach pains, and he thought it was probably just, you know, bad seafood and that. He had pains again about a week later, and decided to call the doctor. They hadn't really done too much yet. They thought it was his gallbladder. And then about 3 days later, he came home from work, and he was jaundiced, badly jaundiced. So at that point, they found a small tumor, and it was very, very tiny, and it was blocking a bile duct. So they the doctors decided that they would do the Whipple procedure. So we had that done, and they were really elated with the outcome. They thought that they had gotten everything. So they put him on a maintenance chemo. So he was on that for quite a while, and then he went for a scan, and it had metastasized. Not a lot, but it had. So they increased the chemo to a much, you know, higher level intensity, and he continued on that actually until he passed away, and that was 20 months later. But the thing that was the most disheartening was that he passed away 3 weeks before he was scheduled for a clinical trial. So we had hoped, you know, that would give him more of a extension. So between obviously between my husband and my brother, you know, it was a really horrific experience, and one that I would do anything to see if other families could avoid such a situation. You know, the signs and symptoms are critical to know, and it's because they're so vague, and they can mimic other situations, and you know, you can, for example, with my brother, he was a really healthy man. He worked out, so his back pain that he thought, you know, was from working out. You know, you can have nausea or problems, and you think you just ate something, you know, that didn't agree with you. But when you put all the pieces together, you can't ignore them. You have to go ahead and have them looked at, and not think that it's, you know, just some average passing illness.